I didn't go to high school with him, but I've known him ever since, God, when I was in Pariah with the Ellison kids.
Right.
And so might as well have gone to high school because we knew each other since then. But it's kind of a trip because, sometimes I'll go out and busk, which means to play music out on the street. And I was always knowing that he used to do all those tricks on the bikes and, I don't know if you've seen him, but he can do all that. He could make a killing here doing that. Put out a little tip jar and just sit there and bounce up down on the bike and turn it and spin it. And, people would just be like, whoa. I always told him, I was like, man, you need to come over here and get a bike and do that.
It's amazing what you can do to make money now.
Yeah.
And decent money.
Yeah.
Well,
that's, okay, so that's funny, but I don't even work it as hard. I do pretty decent, but I don't even, there's a people, in the Reichstunnel, there's, a professional opera lady who, she can, break glass, and she probably makes €100 a day easy.
Right.
But she's got the, the QR code and the tip jar and all that, and she, so I just kind of go out when I feel like it, because I do it to just kind of keep my musical chops in shape. It's almost like exercise, because if you don't keep up on it, it's like, you get a little flabby,
don't you?
But they're doing it every day, Monday through all 7 days a week at least, and they're there from 10, 11 in the morning till 6. Constantly underneath the tunnel, and they all wait in line. They get 30, 35 minutes. They play, then the next person in line plays, and then they get back in line.
So it's organized then.
Yeah.
It's structured.
Yeah.
Rather.
And so I always I find my little spots. Sometimes I'll go to Albert Cup Market. And not every day. If it was guaranteed, I'd be doing it like that. But the way I do it, I don't push it very hard. I go out for a couple hours because, man, I sing and play, and you can only do that for so long. Constantly, it's like you get tired, after a while. After the third or fourth busking event, you kind of, because you've been singing for the last 4 hours.
Yeah, that'll wear you out anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway. So, but considering the fact, it's great day money. I don't do it for a living. I play music for a living, but I don't do that for a living. But it's good day money.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can do $20 to $40 in 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Perfect,
Yeah.
Oh, got a little bit of grocery money. You got a little bit of coffee shop money, whatever. So.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've noticed, especially since moving to London. So
you're in London?
I'm in Cambridgeshire, so I'm just a little north of London, but living in England.
I've played the O2 Academy, and I've played the Garage. I don't know if you know what that is. That's probably a 400, 500 seat club in London. The Garage.
Those are the best places to go to gigs.
Oh yeah.
I was just telling someone a couple days ago. We were talking about. I think it was either a hip hop band called Tribe Called Quest or Beastie Boys or something, but I saw them in Detroit at a nightclub, and they were right there, and then I saw them at the Palace, which is an arena where the basket, and it's they're way down there.
Oh yeah,
and it sucked. It totally sucked.
Yeah, I saw the Stones in Zilker Park in Austin. This is 15 years ago, whatever, and it almost could have been it was so far away and so small. It almost could have been just them playing on the screen.
Exactly.
Because they were just like this, and then they had the screen. It was still fun. Yeah. It was still great, but it was just
the musical vibe is still good.
Yeah.
But you don't get to see the performance.
No, you don't really get the personal, up close kind of thing. Looking at you or so real quick, I was going to ask you. So how long have you been in London and what?
I've been there 13 years this coming November, actually.
How hard was it to immigrate over there? Found yourself an immigration person?
Well, that was the difficult part, because I got married and moved there, but I didn't get citizenship before we got divorced.
Okay.
So then that's when all the money and the lawyers and all the complexities came. Yeah. So once I got that sorted, and it's actually up for renewal this year. So hopefully
in December. Same with mine. I should get another 5 years.
Right.
I had to answer a bunch of questions. Have you been arrested here while you've lived here? Have you lived here illegally ever? And have you been arrested abroad? It was no. So I should get my I should get another 5 years.
Right.
But when I first got here, I got I think it was 2 years, and after the 2 years, they gave me 4 years.
Right.
And then now after this, it's a kind of a hard language, but I want to live here the rest of my life.
Oh, nice.
I love Europe. European life is great.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. I mean, nothing's perfect, but compared to especially the way it is right now in America.
Right.
And I like that. I rode my bike over here. Everything's so close knit together. Texas, you need a car. And, so I really enjoy the vibes here. I love it. Like if I want to go visit a friend in Germany, like take the train or the airport, I can literally ride my bike there, lock it up. Go to Germany, do whatever, come back, unlock my bike, and ride back to my apartment.
Right.
And that's fucking great.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely something different here versus like everywhere else.
When you start living here, you go, oh, wait, okay. Not only is 1776 still kind of young compared to 1275. This place was founded in 1275, right? And then you go, well, wait, this place was made before cars. So it's almost like America is kind of made around cars, the way the infrastructure is, Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's like, you need, unless you maybe live in the downtown Chicago, you can kind of get around with some of the metros here and there. But for the most part, our public transportation sucks in America, it really does. Like in Austin, if you want to go up north Austin, you have to take like 4 or 5 buses. Probably take you 4 hours to just with all the, stop here and then, get on that and then go to this and then stop there to get on another one to go. It would be neat if one just took you all the way there, but it doesn't.
We don't even have that in L.A. Like they're just getting a metro system that will take you from like Hollywood to downtown. I mean, it's been there for a while, but it's not very efficient.
Yeah.
It doesn't it's not like London where you can.
And statistically, Europe's way safer as far as like, getting shot, less likely to get shot or, they can get mugged or stabbed, but I'd rather deal with a knife than a gun.
Oh yeah, any day. Any day.
I like it. I like the fact that you can't have guns here. I don't know. Plus, being a Texan, like, why don't you get a gun? I'm like, no, I don't want a fucking gun.
Yeah, that's a definite Texas thing for sure. That's culture.
But I like to go back, see my friends, and you know what? It's weird. I was so burnt out on it, because I'm from there. I was just like, when you've been to a place so long, you get a little burned out. Now I'm like, I like it because I don't live there. So I can go back and be a tourist and walk around, South Congress and take pictures, something I would never do when I lived there. Yeah. But like, Continental Club, and I never would do that when I lived there.
No.
But the fact that I don't live there, I really appreciate it. And it has its place, just like this does. And, who's to say after a while, a lot of people I know that have been here, Americans that have been here for like 30 years, they're all moving to Portugal.
Really?
Everything's legal there. Like, all drugs are legal. The transit system is great. The weather's even better than up here. They say it's even more, because that's why I moved here, to be, as an artist, to be surrounded by art and music and architecture and all that. It's even more opened for that down there. They tell me, like, busking, everybody's busking, they welcome music on the streets and stuff. So that's why I've been getting that vibe. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I've been here for whatever. I love it. And we did just get kind of a right-wing government here.
Did you?
Oh yeah, they call him the Trump of the North. And hopefully we won't get that guy in. I hope not, in November. But anyways, I just feel sorry for my friends because they're the ones that are going to have to live in that shit, it won't be good for the world if Trump gets in, but at least I can go into Vondel Park and forget about it for a while.
Right,
my bike.
right.
Oh, well, I don't live in it.
Right.
And that's what I was tired of. I was tired of the bubble, USA, and all these flags, and I'm just like, I was burned out on all that shit.
It's very divisive there. Everybody's on one side or the other, and
well, that's
pick.
Almost like that's the way they want it. That's the only way they can, keep. The more angry and divisive you are, the less critical you think. That's the way I look at it. So they want you that way, or at least Trump does, because that guy could say, hey, to his followers and hey man, let's cool this shit.
Right.
He doesn't. He needs that. That's the way he runs. That's what he fuels off of.
Well, he's New York, isn't he? So he's very much. That's just his mentality, I think. Yeah. And then a lot of people. That's what
New Yorkers were cool, though, at one point. I
Yeah.
thought, like, not everybody's like, well, he's white privilege, too,
Yeah.
you know? I
Yeah.
mean, you know, that's why I get tired. I saw this saying that said, when you're used to privilege, equality seems oppressive. And I'm like, whoa, no fucking shit. Like, equality's great. That's fucking what we all want. But when you have privilege, you're like, oh, wait, those people can get the same things as me? Wait, that's not right. When it is right.
Yeah.
But you think it's not because you're so used to your privilege.
Right,
that
right.
equality is oppression. That's fucking tripped out.
That's crazy.
Totally.
There was a guy, he's a producer of a podcast. His name's Chris Moreau. And he produces, I think, Brilliant Idiots. And he was supposed to write a book on Trump.
Wow.
And he was entrenched in his life for months, like at his offices, just sat over there, you know, observing.
Yeah.
And one of the takeaways that he got, I'm just going to paraphrase because I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was saying that he got the feeling that Trump was always wanting to be inside the cool kids club of New York. You know, the wealthy billionaire cool
his dad
kid club.
gave him a loan of $1 million. Imagine
Right.
if your dad gave you a loan of $1 million. I mean, what you could do with it. I'm not saying whether you squander it or not. That's a pretty good chunk of change, especially back in the day.
Back then, yeah.
$1 million was like probably $3 million.
At least more than that, probably.
Yeah.
But he wasn't ever accepted, so he's always like wanted to be part of this crew, and he just
my whole
wasn't.
thing is, when was it ever cool to call people names and demean people? And that's not cool, you know.
No.
But he's giving it there, like, oh, he's the way he's talking, the way I feel. It's like, well, what are you, an asshole? I don't know. I just when was it ever cool to like cut down other people and marginalize them? And it's never cool to do that. I mean, unless you were he just has a high school mentality. It's kind of like, you know, it doesn't matter your age. You can still have a small brain. You know, even if you're 70, 80 years old, you can still, you know, at one point we graduate high school. You know, I used to cuss or say doo-doo-doo or fag or whatever, but that was in high school, man. Like, we all grow up a little bit.
Right.
That's all.
Well, you're supposed to.
Yeah,
we don't all do it.
Not everybody does it, but, you know, that's the sign of maturity, is to grow up a little bit. You can still be wild and be yourself, but just be a little bit more like, you know, concerning of maybe other people's feelings a little bit. But, you know, he ushered in the little Marco, and like, it's okay to belittle people and talk shit.
I think with our culture of like devices and social media, that's
people a little shield of them to
that's
be like
a thing
that
now, right?
Yeah.
So now and I think I noticed it
instead of face to face saying
Right.
it to your face.
Yeah,
like
it's not.
that.
But from television, when we had interesting new TV, say like back in the 90s when we had like Married with Children.
Oh yeah.
These are things that were, or even like Roseanne, we were maybe thinking these things, but we're never saying it. Now on the TV, someone's saying it, so it's
Archie
popular.
Bunker.
Exactly.
Go back even back that way.
So every,
you know, you had like some people that you knew a grandpa or somebody that was kind of like that, you know, but you like laughed it off. It was just the one little thing like that. Now it's just like, yeah, it almost like gives you the right to just be as much of an asshole as you want. Not caring, no empathy for anybody.
No.
And that's, you know, we need to get back to that, man. And that's why I hope he doesn't win, just because of that shit. I don't. And plus, dude, somebody that tried to overthrow the government wants his job back. Like, imagine if you worked here and you tried to overthrow the boss, your boss that works here, and then you come back 4 years later, hey, can I sign it? Here's another application for employment. Hey, didn't you just try to get rid of the boss here? Fucking go. You wouldn't be accepted back. You know?
Yeah, politics is crazy. Well, we've got 2 weeks, and then we'll see what happens.
I'm hoping, because you go on the YouTube now, I love it, but it's almost like going on TV, because it's going to say, oh, Trump might be gaining, and then the next day it's like Kamala's gaining, and then the next day Trump's gaining, and you're like, it's gets you all worked up. And I like to just go and look at like music documentaries and check shit out. That's how I watched Amsterdam. Like, oh, did you hear about? Well, okay, I looked on it. Wow, okay, I watched the movie. So I like it, but it's almost like turning on your television.
You have to trick your algorithms, because I have 2 YouTube accounts where one is just full of so much shit.
Yeah.
Over the years that I just can't.
Trick your algorithms.
Yeah, I just can't.
How do you do that?
You have to find things like I started looking at some of your interviews and stuff that I saw online. Some dudes you did an interview with on a podcast, and they're in Texas.
Yeah.
I think you were in the band, the Sick band.
Oh, so that was probably Talk Louder podcast.
Right.
Yeah, that's a guy, the band Dangerous Toys guy. He was in a big band, and he started his podcast.
Right. So watching something I wouldn't normally see will now start pushing new stuff to my feed.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, it does. Because anytime you start to, like, say you put on, like, some Beatles or something, or watch some, Beatles will start coming up in your feed.
Right. So if you start watching, like, totally random stuff, like just put in like Mighty Mouse or something, or Leave It to Beaver, and then come up. It'll start to manipulate the algorithm.
I get what you're saying,
and you won't see as much,
Well, yeah,
Fox
and then things like pro-Trump
shit.
stuff, always push not interested, and get rid of it. So same with my Facebook thing. Like now, I got rid of all the Trumpers. Now it's like instead of when I go on, it's not all this crap. It's cats and music and stuff, like I, for the most part. There'll be a couple of Trumpers that maybe I didn't unfollow or something, but I got it down to where, like, I don't get on there and go, oh my God. It's more like a lot of my friends that I want to see their stuff.
Right. All right, music.
Yeah.
That's like an endless conversation that we have. We started talking about busking and so on.
Yeah. And, all the stuff I did, And when I was 20, I was signed to Geffen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like during the Guns N' Roses days.
That's crazy.
Right out of high school, 2 years out of high school. And then, got with Gibby Haynes from the Butthole Surfers. I played on his solo, not in the Butthole Surfers, but his solo band.
Right.
Toured, did a bunch of shit. And then with the Meat Puppets, opened up for Foo Fighters and Soundgarden.
Yeah, that's nuts. How does that... Like, I can't even quantify that in my brain. Because I listened to all that when I was a kid, And then it's like to just be...
You just
on the road.
Stop. That's how I did. If I would have quit after Pariah, like, I signed a big record deal, we got our record out, and it commercially flopped, on the big market. Oh, okay, I'm done. Like if I just wanted to be, I guess, a rock star and like play that role, well then, all right, you got to do it. Well, what are you going to do now? And that's why I was just like, oh, wait, I'm a musician.
Right.
That's what I do.
Right.
I play, So that introduced me to that whole period was like once it fell apart and everything, kind of got at a crossroads. Well, I can go this way or I can go that way. I already did the rock star thing, which is, more than most people will ever get to do. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, I got to do it. I'm fine. Let's just go on to something else. Or, well, wait, are you a musician? So you keep going. And then that's how I got the other things, by never stopping. And that's really what it is in music, especially these days, with nothing ever really certain. You just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And, there's no guarantee of when, but, there's the saying or whatever, that the more you do something, the more you hone your craft, the more when the right time comes, So, like I was going to say, so for this thing, I don't know, just down the line, if you ever like, hey, we need a few little music parts or for things, let me know. I'll send you some stuff, and if there's anything interesting, by all means, that's how you do it now. It's like a spider web. You go, you put out a little bit there, you put out there, and before you know it, it gets broad. It reaches a lot of people.
Yeah.
You do a little bit there, and a little bit here, and a little bit there, and oh, hey, you got the little, I heard your music in the, whatever, part 2 of Amsterdam. Or, oh, really cool, yeah. That you just build. It's all about your discography. It's all about your resume.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
What was it like though, being on the road? With like opening and playing with these bands that you probably listen to. Well, you're like maybe like 4 years older than me, 3-4 years older than me. So it might have been a different.
I'm 54.
Yeah, so you're for 3 years, 2.5 years older. So what was it like though to just like? There's Chris Cornell over there,
Well, that's funny what you said, because when we did 3 shows with Soundgarden when I was in the Meat Puppets. We did Calgary, we did Calgary, Canada, we did Vancouver, and then we did the Gorge. You ever been to the Gorge in Seattle? Oh, it's a dugout. You know what a gorge is, right? It holds like 40,000 people.
Right.
Now, of course, we played first at like 6 o'clock, but it was still half full. But but it was great. I mean, it's the thing I like to tell people is it is work. They see the glamour and girls or whatever and adulation. But it's fucking work, dude. So it's almost like you earn that adulation if you do good enough, because like that's just a little reward, girls and drugs and whatever. That's all like secondary. Whereas when you're younger, especially being in Pariah, like when we were signed, it was like, oh, this groupie wants me. I'll let any girl that wanted to do me. But now it's a little bit like, okay, I've been through that. I've done that. It's more about being a musician and having a career than just selling. Because there's lots of people that can sell 1 million records, but still never really, they're all forgotten about.
Yeah.
So it's about maintaining a career. I learned a lot through. You learn a lot through it. But long van rides. Fucking sometimes a nice van ride would be 2 or 3 hours away from a show. That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes you got 6-7 hours in a van, and you got some people. And then there's always usually one dude in the band that's always an asshole. Or they just don't quite get along. And it would make it perfect if they weren't that way.
Right.
That usually happens.
I think that's every band.
Yeah.
That's every band.
It's like a marriage because you're always together, and you're together in a close-knit quarters for a long period of time. And so that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's got to be tough. You said you were like opening the first band. Like I remember when I saw the only time I saw Alice in Chains.
Oh wow!
And they were opening at a tour called Clash of the Titans.
Oh yes, I remember.
So it was Slayer.
I never went to that, but I know about
Megadeth. Anthrax, and Alice in Chains opening. All my favorite bands at the time for metal.
Yeah.
But Alice in Chains, I only knew Man in the Box, right?
Of course.
And I didn't even know who the hell they were, really. When I'm like, that's
so
the Man
badass.
in the Box song. I revisit the tape, right? Because I saw the fucking tape. And I was like, wow, Facelift is really good.
Oh, it's great.
This is
And Lane was a great singer. Like a lot of people ripped off his singing. In the 90s, everybody was singing like that. Everybody was singing like that. Like I think that they ripped him off a lot. That his vocal style was very used in the 90s.
But I never saw him again because when Dirt came out,
that's a great record.
I was like, I got to get tickets. And I was working at a place called Harmony House at the time where we would buy records and tapes and stuff. But we had a ticket master in there.
Okay.
I couldn't even get tickets. Wow. This is when things would sell out in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Do you remember Harpo's in Detroit?
Yes.
Okay, I played there a bunch. Pariah played there a bunch. We played with a bunch of kind of lower bands like Bang Tango and Saigon Kick and all this.
People I know in Detroit. I know you do. Because I have friends that, like a friend Ann, she's in Arizona now.
And Harpo's isn't around anymore, right? Well, how long ago did that end? 20 years ago? 10 years ago?
Maybe about 15 years ago.
And what is it now?
Probably a freaking laundromat or something. Wow. That's crazy.
It was a big room.
We used to go to Harpo's all the time.
It was a big room, from what I remember. It could hold at least 800 people or more.
Oh, yeah.
It was,
That's crazy. I have to look that up now. Live
Harpo's,
on our thing. But
how long did that last? Like, when did they start? In the 70s?
I think so.
And all the bands played there.
Because we used to go there... They're still showing it as active.
Really?
Former name's Harper. It's Harper.
Maybe it's just another name now.
I think
they still have shows there.
The name, it looks
kept it going, I guess, but it's just not Harpo's anymore.
Two legends under one roof: Harpo's and Blondie's. So Blondie's was where we used to go to see all the punk shows.
Okay, I never played Blondie's. We played Harpo's. I'm trying to think of a couple other places that we played in Detroit, but we had went up there a few times. Wow.
Yeah, they have somehow merged. I don't know. I never knew any of that. So I will ask my friend who she knows all about that stuff.
Right on.
But that's crazy. That's crazy.
So, you got to, in music, it's about outlasting the cockroaches, outlasting the trends, because there's always going to be a trend, a hairstyle or the way the dress is cool. And you go through that, you go through the Guns N' Roses thing, and then you go through the grunge thing, and then now... I think now people are just like, what's going to be big next? What should we follow next? And nobody knows.
So do you have to adjust what you're doing to accommodate that to a degree in order to be listened to, don't you? Because
in order to be if you want to be, well, people don't really sign people anymore unless, you can be 20 and probably get signed. But there's record companies are kind of non-existent now.
That was my next question.
But back in the day, in order to be signed, because there was no internet, or to be heard on a national level, to be played on the radio, where you're like, hey, I turned on my rock radio station, I heard your song.
Right.
You had to be signed for that.
Right.
So that's what's changed. This is now, you can, if you've got a good buzz video, or maybe it gets, 500,000 views or 1 million views or something, you can start gaining a buzz from it and work around it.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's cool because there's no dictating. There really is no, like, you can follow whatever trends with like nose earrings and hair things, but now it's really whatever takes off is what's cool.
Right.
You don't have to really follow a certain genre of things. Like, I like everything. I've always been a rock and roll guy.
Right.
But I like it all. I like music in general. I go see my friends' bands if they're country bands. It does not mean that I'm like a big country guy, but I support just the arts. And I didn't really, when I was little, it was all about kind of partying and girls and playing shows and, rock and roll. And, now it's just the arts. It's just all the arts. And, whether my friends, hey, I have an art exhibition of my paintings, come down and see it. I will,
right.
Even though I'm not like into paintings, but anything art related now, I really go for. So that's about it.
Your palette expands and changes as you age, Yeah. Would you rather start making music now or when you did? Because now, like you said, you don't need the label and so on. You can have like a SoundCloud account and people will listen and find your music on the internet.
I could tell you, like with Pariah, if it was the same thing, but now it would kind of be cool because there's, like when Pariah was around at Alice in Chains, there was a lot of rock bands. And now there's not a lot of rock bands. Like, so something like Pariah would be really unique and fresh. They call it hair metal, but it was just like, 4 or 5 cute guys with, hair and dressed all rock and roll, whatever, looked like Guns N' Roses. But back in the day, there was 1 million Guns N' Roses, and we were kind of part of that, right? But now, if someone were to come out like Guns N' Roses did back in the day, and just like 5 dudes that looked unique and had stage presence and shit, that would be really interesting now, and I think would take off. But you'd have to... You'd have a different angle. You'd have to just play, push it, play, and hopefully get, whether somebody actually signed you that was in a label of some sort, or get some kind of booking agent or manager that can expose you to other stuff. That's what it would be about now, and hopefully your new band that was out, like say if Pariah was out now, our video just it's almost up to 1 million views, like we're catching a buzz. Because the thing about buzz bands is it's cool when it's buzzing, but as soon as you're not a buzz band, it's fucking
downhill.
Yeah. That's what Pantera guy used to say, man, we don't want to be a fucking buzz band. Because then it's just like, oh, you're hyped, and then, now you're not,
Yeah.
And so it's very fleeting, and I guess I've never been like in mainstream or in the top like that, so I've never had to kind of deal with like trying to keep up with the Joneses for staying in that, like these big bands where like, maybe an Alice in Chains where you're sold so many records and then, a lot of bands aren't really doing, I mean, they still, like I said, Alice in Chains, but they're not doing like it was in the heyday. A good example, Meat Puppets opened up for Stone Temple Pilots, right? We did like 8-9 shows. And this was in 2010. This is before that dude died. It was original members with Wheatland and all that.
Scott, yeah.
So 2010, they were playing arenas, but they were playing arenas that were cut in half by a black
curtain.
Yeah. Whereas in the 90s, that would have been completely open and sold out. So even those kind of bands took a hit. I could say Metallica, sold, gazillion records. Well, now they only sell like 1 million or 2.
Right.
But they're still big echelon, and they draw. And now it's all about your draw. I mean, Taylor Swift and some of these, like, I don't like that Ed Sheeran guy. I respect him, but I'm not a big fan. But even that dude can fucking sell out fucking O2 Academy. So you got to tip your hat to that. Like, that's what it's like to be big now. If you can do shit like that, doesn't matter if you sell 1 million records. I mean, I'm sure he sells 1 million records or has a few gold records, but. It's more about that, because that's where the money is now, more than it is. It used to be about money, making it off your records, but now it's about touring. If you pack it in, you make money. That's really what it's about. So if a band can do that on its own, great. And it's weird, always kind of opening for bands and not really having the headline status like those bands, headlining an arena. I don't really know what that would be like, but I have a taste of what it could be like because I've played arenas.
Sure.
But to have that be your own show and you're not opening for 45 minutes or 35 minutes, it's different.
Still playing in an arena, like you said, it's got to be dope.
So the other thing we did, Meat Puppets in 2016 was opened up for the Flaming Lips right before they played at the Riot Fest in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was like 30,000 people or whatever. It's just like a sea. Everywhere you look, it's just a sea. And it's weird. To me, those are easier to play than the couple of people like, okay, show us what you got. I know, because they're already drunk.
Right.
They're already, as soon as you play a chord, they go, so you already got them, unless you just totally suck. Right. You've already got them. It's harder to play to a crowd that's kind of like, all right, let's see how good this is. When they've been drinking all day outside, those are kind of easier crowds to play to. I know it may look intimidating, playing to 30,000 people, and it kind of, I guess, is. But if you're rehearsed and you know what you're doing and you go out there and you do your shit, they're going to like it because half of them are fucking drunk anyways. And then, or some girl they like or something like, hey, dude, they're badass. Oh, yeah, it's cool. Like the Beatles say, right, when a couple girls scream, they all scream. It's kind of like that mentality. Right. So it's actually easier, I think, to play to those big crowds. As long as you're good, like when we did the thing at the Gorge, by the time Soundgarden went on, it was sold out 40,000 people. Now, when we went on at like 7 in the evening, it was half full, but that was still about 15 to 20,000 people.
Yeah, that's still a ton of people, bro.
So that's kind of the way it is, So that's opening sometimes, you do either you get a good enough slot where the people are there already, or you're playing as the people are walking in. But just to be able to play that is what it's about.
Setting the tone for the whole evening, really.
Yeah, that's right.
That's really cool. So it's got to be hard anyway, because especially as a drummer, you're doing the most.
Oh yeah,
on stage.
It's the most physical, and you've got to keep it all together, and But at the same time, that's kind of what I grew up on, so I'm used to that.
Yeah.
To that kind of pressure or whatever. But yeah, I mean, your band is only really as good as your drummer. You can have a mediocre guitar player or bass player, even singer, as long as they have some kind of charisma. That's the other thing. Like these David Lee Roth and shit, they're great. They're good singers and stuff, but they're not technically like a Freddie Mercury.
No.
And only certain people can be on that level. Chris Cornell, where you have a truly terrific voice, but if you have that and you're an awesome frontman. But to me, singing is more about your personality. Hey, I'm David Lee Roth.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about than technical. John Lennon didn't like his own voice. And to me, John Lennon's got one of the greatest voices, So a guy like that didn't like his voice?
Yeah.
What the fuck, I'd be like, I'd be afraid to sing if,
I saw David Lee Roth on Rogan recently.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's an older man now. But, dude, the guy's been through so much shit. But you look at the YouTube stuff back in the day, and you're just like,
oh, he was great. It was great watching them back in
and just the life that he lived, and he'd go off in the jungle, kind of like what Led Zeppelin would do. It'd be like when you see that movie, that song remains the same. It's like he's in a wilderness, just all the creek, and some dude on a bike. Here's a message. It's like, get ready for your 30-day tour of America. I've got to go tour again and get away from this paradise. That's what David Lee Roth would do. He would go and in the jungle with fucking mosquitoes and shit, and you hang out for a month and just get away from society.
You have to just get some sort of a reset.
Yeah, but today and now, it's. Sometimes the people, and they get older, so you don't expect them to be like. There's very few people that get older like that still have it. Still have Robert Plant can still kind of do it.
Oh yeah.
But some of them just start turning into kind of caricatures of themselves. But at the same time, I also thank them for what they gave us back then. So I don't look at it now and go, David Lee Roth now is great. I go, it's not really that great, but man, what he gave us back in the day, it was what I capture, what I hold on to. wow, I want to do that. Same like when I was a Kiss fan back in the day, the original lineup back with Ace and Peter, the original guys. It was like, that looks fun.
Right.
I want to do that, and that's what made you do what we do.
Well, I'm sure your dad played a major part in what you wanted to do.
Well, that's a whole other thing, because I just grew up like, say he was playing here tonight, I would just sit here and play pinball machines and ask people, hey, do you got a quarter so I could play pinball, while he played numerous sets.
That's fucking crazy,
bro. He played 2-3 sets. And I'd literally be asleep on the couch at 2 or 3 in the morning. Come on, son, my show's over. Let's go home now. Because they were like daycare centers is really what it was. So all those Armadillo and Soap Creek and all those famous, Austin things that are no longer there, those were all my daycare centers. Me and my brother and my sister, we'd show up, and what I would do is I would just go explore, man, or go up into the, like walk around here, and like there's a little staircase going up into the attic or something. I'd go, oh, it's up there. And just go explore everywhere. That's what I did while he did his shit, while he did his shows. Or then after I got tired, I'd sleep on the club couch, and then he'd wake me up. Let's go home. So yeah, it was more like just, it's like going to the office with Dad, except they were nightclubs.
That would be an amazing experience to have as a kid, I think.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, I don't, not that I'm not like opposed to alcohol, but I don't drink. I don't like alcohol because I play to fucking drunks. And when you play to it, I've seen the worst of the worst, man. People just, or girls that are really cute that want to hang out with you. What are you, like, what's your hotel? They're just so fucked up that it's not even worth to hook up with each other because you're so fucked up. So that kind of ruins it for after a while of that. I'm not saying it's all that way. There's hot girls that'll come back maybe a little bit buzzed and they want to hang out with you. That's great, but majority of the time you see the worst of the worst, the sloppiness. Or you'll see somebody at the beginning of the show, they're like, and then at the end of the night, they're like,
That's hilarious. I used to be a bouncer back in the late 90s in like Detroit, Royal Oak area. And
so you kind of see that.
You see people come in, they've been at work all week, and they're nice when they come in. Hey, how you doing?
After a few beers are okay, but then there's with alcohol, there's just this point where it's done. You're done. You're toast, a few beers and a few like, whatever, hey, that's always cool. But then there's that point to where the drop off.
Exactly.
There's a big drop off. It's like, I thought y'all were great. Oh, cool, I'd like to hang out. You want to hang out? Well, sure, but you're a little too drunk.
You're too drunk,
and that's the other thing, too, the whole hook up drunk, I'm drunk, you're drunk, let's go hook up and have sloppy sex. That was fun when you were 20.
I was going to say, when you're a kid, that's great. But that's just...
But now I don't go for it.
It's not enjoyable.
And then also, too, not drinking, I can... if I want to be with somebody, it's not because I have beer goggles on, or like, you're fucked up, I'm fucked up, let's go. It's more like, sure, let's go have a coffee or let's go eat some breakfast after the show, sure. Like, I'm level-headed, I know, like, if I want to do it, it's because I want to do it.
So you stopped drinking, over 20 years ago?
25 years ago. I just was never, I tried. I got sick a lot. I'm a stoner. I love to smoke weed.
Well, you're in the right country for that.
Well, that's the thing is you're in the right country even if you're a drinker or you do both or you only do one. People, you got the terraces here. You can drink until you're fucking... But you know what else I noticed about, like, Europeans? They don't really drink to get fucked up. They drink to celebrate more than they say when you go to... In America, people go to get fucked up in America. So that's a big difference. Here it's like... and they get drunk, but they don't go there to get fucked up. They go there to celebrate and in the process get fucked up. Whereas in America, they go there, give me another fucking shot. Give me another one.
I think a part of that is, and as you say that, I'm thinking this, is we work way more in America than they do here. So we go to destroy ourselves because we destroy ourselves for the job.
Again, we can save it for whatever you want when we start, taping. But man, once you start living here, you start to realize all that. Like all my Dutch friends are just like, hey, Shandon, see you later. We're going. Where you go? Oh, September. Every September we have our vacation. We take our vacation time. See you. And I see their posts. They're in Egypt with their fucking family and shit. What does Americans do? Oh, I'd love to. I can't really take my vacation time because if I were to stop working, I'll fall behind on my mortgage payment, and then I won't have my house. And like we're overworked, man. Like I call USA U-stress-a. It is. It really is. And that was the other thing coming over here was like. It was like taking the air out of the balloon, little by little, So, there's so many great things. Like I said, no place is 100% perfect, but I'll take 97.9999. Because to me, America wasn't. It was more like 58.999.
Yeah, I was going to say 60.
Whatever. No place is perfect, but I really like the vibes here. And so what you were saying is true. If you're a smoker, you can go. You got your coffee shop thing. If you like to drink and smoke, you got both.
Yeah.
If you like to get drunk, you got that because there's all these terraces around town that you can have a drink and another drink and another drink. But it's much more simpler over in Europe.
Yeah.
It's a little more simplified, man. It's not so much about consumerism. Buy this, buy the newest shit. And it's funny because a lot of Americans go, oh, I can't afford this. But they all seem to have a new car. They all seem to have a new fucking iPhone, the 13, iPhone 15. But they're like, oh, but I can't afford to vacate. But you seem like you can afford all this other shit.
They have to. They have to have that daily...
Like keeping up with the Jones.
Yeah, everything has to be the newest. Because that's how we're sold. I was watching a special on YouTube, tricking my algorithms, on minimalism. And these guys were talking about getting rid of everything and how we've been tricked into thinking we need to have
more.
The newest.
What happens? What happens? You just get clutter. Like that's one thing. Like now, as I get older, it's like I don't like fucking things just building up on me. Like if it starts to, I start to organize it. Like oh, okay, do I really need that? And, yeah, I want to keep that. Okay, like there's that little thing where you organize. It's like have 3 boxes. The one stuff of like, okay, I don't want to get rid of this. One of the stuff, well, I'll keep it for a few more years. Let me reevaluate it later. And the other one, like, oh, this can go.
Right.
And that's what I do. I just like especially now, there's not a lot of space in Holland. So, like, my apartment's small. It's easy to mess up, and it's easy to clean it up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely true. I noticed that we were talking about there not being cars when the country was built, and I noticed that about
the streets are smaller.
Oh,
yeah. Cobbled streets. Yeah, a lot of these places can't handle all these cars. There's always construction in Amsterdam because all these cars are going over those old bridges, and they can't really. They're starting to
get weak,
and so they're having to reinforce it, and they're always doing that all throughout the whole city. So I understood it after a while. I was like, God. There's always fucking construction here. But now I understand that they need to do that in order to keep it fucking from falling in because it's an old city. Yeah. And they need to reinforce shit. Because if they didn't, you wouldn't have that pretty bridge to go over. It'd crumble.
You'd have Baltimore.
But they're going to be changing it. I mean, they're getting rid of like the gas kind of scooters next year.
Oh, are they?
They're trying to. I mean, it's going to be a phase where they shift it out. It can't just happen overnight.
No.
But they're I think they said by 2030 they don't want to have any combustible engines in the city.
Really?
Yeah, they want to have it all electric. So that would definitely help the environment, help the air. Because one of those things I don't like, well, it's good now that they don't do it, but the scooters used to be able to ride along with the bicycles. Okay. Well, now they have to, they still do sometimes, but technically they'll get a ticket. But now they have to be on the street.
Oh, right.
And then that's so nice now because a scooter would go by you, and it's almost like they just blow exhaust in your face.
Right.
You're like,
yeah.
And that sucked. So when they did that, and that happened like a couple of years after I moved here, I was like, all right, man, scooters have to be out on the street. And there's some people, of course, in the scooters, they're not going to stay in a line of traffic. They're going to go, oh, I'm going to go on the bike lane and go all the way in front of the line. So, that happens. But technically, they're not supposed to. And it's knocked it down. It still happens. But, like, 90% of the people follow it. So it's knocked it down. But, man, it used to be like, oh, shit. And just pushes the exhaust, blows the exhaust behind you.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like I feel like that when sometimes if I go into London for whatever.
Dude, London is crazy.
And just people just like the cigarette smoking, I feel.
Yeah.
Like if I'm walking behind like people and they're just all smoking.
Yeah.
And I know in Beverly Hills, they were in the process years ago of making it illegal to smoke on the sidewalk.
That is so strange.
Like you can't, and I got it.
Yeah.
I got it from a standpoint of, say we're in this restaurant here and there's an outside seating area for dining.
Yeah.
I want to sit outside because we're in California and they're smoking. And I don't smoke anymore. I used to. But that can be a disturbance to me.
Sure. And we need to, but the thing that I about that is that we need to keep it like that and not get too zealous about it, because they're gonna, there's gonna be a time I feel they're gonna go, you can't even smoke out in the atmosphere anymore.
Well, that's what's coming. That's coming.
Well, there you go. That's not fair.
That's coming.
I mean, dude, it's always about politeness. Like if I'm smoking or something, weed, I'm not gonna blow. Try to blow it in the direction of little kids or old grandmas or something. Like it's about having tactfulness, and but that the whole government thing, they tell you, like Starbucks, it'd be like 10, 15 feet, no smoking in front of the thing or whatever. Now it's 30 feet, now and 50 feet, then it's going to be 60. Like, when do you stop? When are you okay with it being So that's my little bitch about it.
Yeah.
But having said that, it's just polite to, if you're going to smoke or whatever, or go to the smoking area. Like, they should still have some maybe little smoking areas where hey, if I sit there, I'm going to be surrounded by smoke.
Right.
Like, that's your choice.
But you got to make sure people follow that. And I've noticed both times that I've been here in the last month.
Well, the old world, people smoke in the old world. If you notice it, the old world, people just smoke. Yeah. They fucking smoke. And I don't mind it just because I like the freedom of it. But at the same time, it's kind of strange. That's what I like about the old world, is that it's different than America. Whereas we're so like, because okay, they don't want you to smoke or whatever, but America's food is going to kill you before smoking. See what I'm saying? So we need to prioritize this shit. Like, if you're going to not have people smoking, then why don't you make our food better? Why don't you? Because all this shit's going to kill us just before all that.
Well, that's what the pharmaceutical company is for. They let you eat all the shit. Yeah. And then when you're our age, you start to decline as a result. That's right. They bring you back up with all the drugs.
Anytime you stay on prescription drugs, a Western diet, Western, prescription drugs, you're going to be marginally healthy. Yeah. You're going to have side effects. All this shit's got side effects. And so I like the old world of, like, you want to have a smoke, go step out, but be courteous too. Don't just if there's some people that. I like I said, if I'm smoking weed or something somewhere, I try to be around. If people welcome, come over here and smoke. Okay, cool. I like to know where I'm welcomed at and where I'm not. Because again, they are going to say, what, no more smoking outside anymore. Well, wait, people have to have areas like the no smoking ban. I'm totally cool with that. I understand that, but at the same time, they should have clubs that say, when you walk into this establishment, this is what's going to go, like an adult. Right. And if you're opposed to it, don't come in. Yeah. It's almost like with drinking. Hey, people drink here. If you don't like drunks, don't come in. Then I can make a choice for myself to go, you know what, I really don't want to be in there. So that's nice. Just to give people, the more choices you have, the more freedoms you have. And that's what we need to remember.
And I was reading about this months ago, about the changes that took place in places like where they've decriminalized drugs, and depression rates have gone up, or crime rates have gone up.
See, I think that's a myth.
Do you?
Oh yeah. I mean, what, you're giving people more freedom to or not to go to jail for drugs, not to. Nah. I mean, I think if that would have happened, they would have stopped all of this. Because, look at Colorado. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, conservatives or whatever, they used to be like, well, if they legalize pot, everyone's going to be stoned. That's not true. Not everyone is stoned. No. Okay? Now, the people that want to can. And it's just about not getting persecuted for it. Really, So that was I remember that back being little kids, like, well, if we legalize it, everybody would be stoned. And they're like, no, the people that would, and the people that don't. And you see that now. Colorado, not everyone is stoned, but you have the option. Right. And to me, that's what The more options you have in life, the more freedoms you have. And I'm just into options, And so, like I said, I'm for like smoking bans and stuff, but also give people a little bit of lee room. Don't just be so rigid.
Right.
And so if we can give people a little bit of choice here and there, because I understand why we have these laws and stuff, but just to be a little bit more, not as rigid, only this. That's when your freedoms start to get smaller.
Yeah, I think when we have too much government is when that happens.
Of
That's
course.
because there's too much control.
Yeah, I mean now like all these people that used to be like, government, get out of my thing. I'll own as many guns as I want. But now they're like, but I don't care if you tell a woman what to do. Fucking, I don't care. Go ahead. Now it's like, no, if you're gonna want to keep all your guns and don't want the government to say, then you should have that same right to other people. Because freedom for just a few kind of people, that's privilege. You want freedom for all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't happen.
No, of course. But we'll get there eventually. We're just living in a weird time. It's going to eventually come to that. Like I was thinking about the time when women ruled, when we were in a matriarchy society.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know, you can go Google it. It's like, when did it switch over and shit, And women used to be looked upon as the giver of life.
Right.
And now it's like, and that sucks.
Yeah.
I think we should go back to that kind of mentality.
I think we have too much internet. I think we have too much freedom
of course.
of access to other people and their opinions.
Yeah.
And what I think we might see.
But it's none of our. Some of it. A lot of this is none of our business.
No, it isn't.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So, but we're making it our business, I think, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, because we have the ability
have all this access
to make it our business, and people have an opinion on what seems to be just about everything now.
Yeah. Like love who you love. Don't care. Like do what you do. And just go about your day. Be a good citizen and go about your day. That's kind of where the Dutch are. The Dutch like to say, we may not like that you like to go to the prostitutions or smoke weed at the coffee shop, but go to work, do your thing, and be a productive citizen, and you have that to enjoy yourself, to let off steam.
Right.
And that's great.
Yeah.
That's what we should. We should have more of that shit than less of it. Because it gives people, as long as you can be a good member of society, like, man, when I'm walking around, if I see a trash can and I'm walking and I see some trash right before that, I'll pick it up and fucking put it in,
See, you'll have a high social credit score when they start doing that.
Yeah, that's right.
Where the other people are going to have that. I think we're going to see that really, really soon.
Yeah.
I'll give it 10 years before we start seeing that in the West.
Well, you are where you live. You can fucking trash out where you live or make it nice.
Right.
Like, what do you want to do? What kind of place do you want to live in? Is the other place, is the other thing. But like, London's cool, but boy, there's a lot of cars. And when I went, it was €100, £100 almost for my cab ride from the hotel. From the
airport to
the hotel.
Absolutely.
It was fucking expensive.
Yeah.
And the pound's worth way more than the dollar and the euro.
So
it just costs more when I go over. That's why I don't go over there very much, just because it kind of costs more.
It costs way more. I remember when I first started going in the mid 2000s, or more like late 2000s.
It was like 135, 145.
Oh, it was almost double, actually, for the U.S. dollar anyway, not the euro.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
the
dollar.
Americans going over there, it's hurt.
Yeah, it was 2 to 1.
Yeah.
So it's like my ex-wife would come to L.A. and her pound was $2, whereas I'd take her to the movies in London and it would cost me $40.
That's right.
to go to
so anything that was it's double. So anything that cost 20 bucks or whatever in your account would be $40 take it out. It would be double.
It was wild.
So you have to remember that, like, okay, I'm buying this drink or whatever, and it's £10, but it's actually they're going to take out 20 to 25 pounds for it out of my credit.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So I think what we'll see. I don't know how we got to this point in this conversation, but we're going to see like a global currency soon. There's definitely like a central bank type digital currency.
That's another kind of weird thing. Like, I hope they never get rid of cash.
That's gone.
Well, I know, but man, we got to stand up and not accept it, because again, it's the power. People forget that we have the power. If we stand up, but it's got to be billions and billions of people stand up and go, we're not going to do that.
No.
Like right now is perfect because we have a choice. We can do the card or the cash. My problem is two things. I don't want the government to know everything I buy. And then second, it's all numbers. And sometimes this this kind of connection of there's like a transaction. That's what everything's a number. And then you go to pay for something. Say you have 5 cards. Say you have 10 cards. Oh, sorry, got rejected. Oh, I wonder why. Let me call. You have to cash at the end. You can buy it at the end if your cards don't work.
Right.
And that's what you'll be fucked if you go and you go, I've got 20 cards here. Well, sorry, we're going to accept that one. Oh, that one's rejected for some reason. So is this. I'm just giving you a scenario.
Sure.
How are you going to buy your drink at the end if all 5 of your cards are gone and they don't accept money?
We've got places in London that don't accept cash.
I know. They do a few places here. PIN only.
Yeah.
But they're still using, and when I busk now, I have a ticky. I have, a thing. So, but more people, I get, and I like that. I like the change because you get paid right away. That's what I like. So, I do have the little QR code next to my tip jar. So that's the way it is. But man, in Oslo and stuff, there's places to where, get this. So I played Oslo a couple months ago. Bums on the street. Instead of like asking for money, and they hold up a sign that's got a number. Where you just give them $5,
right?
And they digitally go, "Oh, I got $5 from some random person." Like, wow!
You have to.
But I mean, like a bum just holding up his number of his account.
He has to. Who's got cash? Really? I mean,
I know.
Not so much.
Yeah. I just hope it stays a lot longer. I mean, especially with COVID. When COVID came around, I was like, well, cash might have the COVID virus. That was almost gonna. I was thinking, oh shit, that's gonna make cash disappear even quicker.
They use that as the catalyst to start to push that away because.
I like both, man. I like to be able to go, you know what, I have the cash, I'll pay it. You know what, I have the card. Let me use it. I don't have the cash on me right now.
Right.
Again, it's choice, man. Give us more choices and options, not less.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what freedom is all about.
Yeah.
I want these size fucking drinks or fries or whatever. I want this size, not that. But you have 3 sizes. I know it might be a little overwhelming with all the different options. But
who cares, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, that's what I want. Not that, but that.
Yeah. Well, if the government has control over all your funds, then you're not going to be able to eat French fries every day because they're going to say you're a burden to the healthcare.
And you're going to know. And you're going to, you're going to know. They're going to know everything you buy. Like, oh, you bought a, 15-foot dildo at the fucking thing. Not that I care. I wouldn't care. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's no one's business.
No. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
No, but they can. It's all connected, and then you can get hacked. That's the other thing. You can lose your fucking money. That's why I haven't done this. Hasn't been into I'm sure Bitcoin's cool and all this shit, but and that shit goes, and then one day it's worth a lot, and then it fucking crashes, and then the next day it's worth a lot, and then it crashes. Like I don't want that instability. That big, But again, just having a choice. Hey, I don't have any cash on me. I will pay with my card. Or you know what? My funds in my card, bank account's a little low right now.
Right.
I think I'll use some cash.
Use some cash.
That interaction is great. And I do like this interaction of exchange, not just.
I think because that's the only thing we've known until 10 years ago.
Sure,
that. It would seem foreign. I mean, all through history. I mean, you can go dig up something and be like, oh, I just found a coin from 1603 and it's, whatever. So that's always been there, tangibility. Whereas now, when you think of a 10-year-old kid or maybe younger, they're not buying anything really because they don't have an account. Yeah. So they don't know
something on
yet.
Their phone, they just go.
Right. So now.
I got it now.
It'll just be normal for them to not have cash.
Think about it. Normal growing up, going like this. I want to listen to rock music, or I want Americana mixed with blues. Here's all your options. I mean, that. I mean, again, it's good to have all that, but it is different. Whereas, we wanted something, we went to a record store, we waited until it came out and got it, and there was some fun in that.
Yeah.
But again, it's okay. It's as long as we can keep things, all these options and everything, but kind of keep it still reined in a little bit somehow. That's all. I like the option if I want to pay with this or I want to do that or I want to get that as opposed to that. They are kind of narrowing everything down to where it's just this basic few.
Yeah.
And it's okay, but I don't know.
I think it hinders development, it hinders creativity, like, because we have like streaming platforms. There were no streaming platforms in the 90s.
No.
You had a CD or a tape deck or whatever.
Hey, and then what's happening now, some people are like, you know what, records are actually cool. I think I'm going to buy a turntable, and now I'm going to, even some kids are like, I want to put on a thing, and and it's like, because the groove is in the plastic. It's all, and that's the other thing we can talk about. We're not filming, are we?
Yeah, we've been filming this whole time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Okay, so I didn't know if you were going to start. Okay, now, but okay, great. Well, that's the other thing is everything has a circle. Everything has a circle. So what's cool right now is going to be, 8 tracks could almost come back.
Oh God, let's hope not.
Yeah, I know, but cassettes were coming back for maybe it was 5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, where bands were actually starting to sell cassettes at their shows. You're like, what?
That's wild.
Well, that's wild.
That's wild.
I mean, you have to rewind. Here's a good one. So that, the new generation, Y or Z or whatever, and they're very smart and know how to do all the stuff. But somebody gave them a boom box. Here you go, there's a cassette. And they're like,
it's like reel to reel to them, right?
Like, dude, rewind, fast forward. It almost stumped them.
Right.
Something so simple stumped them. Now that's crazy.
Yeah.
To think that something so simple that we go, dude, it says eject. You know what eject means? Yeah, okay. Okay.
I know, right?
Play, right? Yes, I know what play means. They just, it almost stumped them. Like you showed them a card trick. Like, huh?
I've just started rebuilding a DVD collection because I've been so fed up with going to a platform and that's gone now, or they will charge me whatever £3.
You know what I like about DVDs? They got the extras too.
All that.
That's awesome. You don't get that when you're on YouTube and you get say you get a DVD or the show of that DVD on YouTube. Well, they're not they'll have probably another thing where it says, here's the extras.
Right.
But you don't get the extras, maybe. You don't get the extras that come with the DVD. I know. Everything is a circle. Again, save the bell bottom, save whatever, because it'll all come back again. I'm telling you. That is one thing being in the music business that I understand is that, the hairdos and this and that and the clothes, it all will come back around. Here's an example. Back in the day when it was Guns N' Roses and everything or whatever, and you had people that had mullets or whatever. Whatever. Well, people have mullets now. There's a bunch. Okay, it's cool now. It's okay. But back then we used to love mullets. People actually have 80s mullets now. I've seen Duran Duran looking mullets, and it's cool. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, you should just be yourself, and and it shouldn't matter. But everything old is new again. And that is, being in the music, that's what I've always noticed. So whatever, if this kind of pants are out, just hold on to them. Don't get rid of them, because in 5 or 10 years or even 15 years, they're going to be cool again.
Right.
Or these shoes, or, hairstyle is cool again. I'd never think wow, especially back in the day, people would have mullets, and now they do. 18-year-olds, they have it shaved in and then hanging down like totally. And you're like, wow, that's the kind of stuff we had in high school. So everything old is new again.
Because there's only so much you can have.
That's right.
I mean, and that's part of the problem. And I was talking to someone about this the other day. I think we have too many options for things. So things aren't valued as greatly as they used to be.
That's right. Well, true.
Because if I don't like this case on my phone, I'm going to just go buy another case. Or, whatever.
Yeah, it makes things is it expendable? Is that how you call it? Expendable?
Yeah,
disposable.
Just gone. Just buy. I'll just get
instead
another
of having
one.
My phone, for example. I had to finally get a new updated one. Why? Well, because the bank I'm using doesn't accept my phone anymore. My phone.
The operating system is.
So I would not have. Look, as long as it works, and you get used to how it works. I'm fine with that, but I had to actually upgrade because it started to say, you could no longer use your ABN AMRO on your 2019 phone. You will need to get a 2021 and up phone for that. I'm like, what the fuck? So I had to transfer, and I didn't realize when I transferred, I got almost everything back, but there was a couple pictures from Dubai and shit that I lost. I didn't know. I looked, I saw that the pictures were there, but I didn't check all all the departments of your pictures and go, oh, okay, your vacation pictures, okay, those are still there. And I cleared my phone before it, after I already go, oh, wait, I didn't get my Dubai pictures weren't downloaded. Everything else got downloaded, and I'm like, fuck, I already blanked out my older phone, so I can't get it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to. I was kind of, and that's kind of weird. They're kind of forcing you to keep up with the Jones, and I just, dude, if I don't want to, I don't want to. And so if it wouldn't have been for that, I would still have my old 2019 phone. If it would have let me,
right?
It just wouldn't let you. Like, why won't you upgrade? Like, I don't understand.
There's no money in you keeping that old phone. That's why.
I know.
So they have to make a new phone that only supports the newer stuff they're gonna make.
And then in another 5 or 6 years, this will probably be out. Yeah, I know, but I'm not. Again, I'll do it. Well, I guess when I'm forced to do it, But until then, I'm going to stay with my phone because, I get used to how it all works and shit. Like when I got my new phone, I was like, okay, can I get one that's just like this but the updated version? So I still know, like, if I were to get a whole different, like, I have an Android. So if I were to get a whole different iPhone, I know they're basically the same, but I'm so used to how this one phone works and how you get rid of this and that it would be new to me again and I have to start all over. I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. I think Elon Musk is making a phone. That's so he keeps saying. So, some kind of Tesla phone or something.
Really?
Yeah. So
better than his cars. I mean, his cars, they look like crap. They look like these little boxes, these little gray boxes. I mean, why would they make a car look so generic? I mean, that was the other thing too. It's like, you got these, like, even these, looking at these cars right here. That's all plastic, man. Yeah. It's like, man, when you were like in a Cadillac, that was like a boat, and that was some steel. If you got hit from behind, you wouldn't feel what was that? And then you look, but your bumper didn't even get a dent. You're like, but here you barely get scraped, and the whole bumper gets taken off. So the quality is, it's like to make lighter cars and stuff. Quality's kind of diminished, or not necessarily the engine, but there you go again. Now, remember we used to have to, like, if your car didn't start, you could spray your carburetor.
Right.
Now they don't even have carburetors in there.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that shit? If you go, it's this engine that's inside of something where you have to take this big bracket off just to get in there. This whole casing.
Yeah. It's our new world, Shandon.
Yeah.
Get ready for it.
Hey, I'm cool with adapting. Like, we're humans, we have to adapt, but some of it I find either not necessarily unnecessary, but sometimes the old school shit works just as good. Like better. Western Union, when I used it one time, like a while back, like, that still works, man.
Yeah.
Fucking send some cash over to a friend of mine in fucking Tahiti. It's still, there's some old school stuff that still has relevance, I think.
Yeah.
And so you start to see that, and then I think we should just hone in on that, like, hey, that's old school, but that works.
Yeah.
We know that works, so keep it. Okay? Bring in the new, but also keep some of the classic stuff that we know has a reputation for working. There you go, instead of getting rid of it. All right. So, in America now, we're getting rid of all this old classic stuff, and we're putting new, which is, I understand, up to code, green, right? Well, but we're tearing down all the cool. Like here, what I like is they're doing that in Amsterdam, but they're keeping the outside of it.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the old building still. Now inside it might be all new with the washers and all that shit, which they didn't have in the 1600s.
Right.
But that building itself was made in the 1600s.
Right.
And they're just adapting inside. That's what I like. Instead
of
tearing it
like
down.
That, actually,
really?
Yeah.
Mine was built in 1890.
Right.
Yeah.
My house is actually, it's only about 15, 16 years old.
Wow.
But the stones that they use to make it are from like a pub that they owned and destroyed. Yeah. So they kept the outside looks in line with the rest of the old houses, but inside it's newer. Yeah. So, which is
well. So
great.
Like with this, though, just basically your whole motto was just what, to kind of talk about not life, but just how things have come and gone, and how people adapt to things, and environments and atmospheres, and what was then was different than it is now, but yet, so a lot of it's like that, again, with the music, a lot of the old is kind of new again, but things move on, things go forward. But I think, just kind of wrapping on all that is just that we do have things in life that have worked, that work, the old school stuff that we know works consistently. And adding that into the new, I think, is what's cool. Because you can go, hey, oh, man, so a kid will go, Mom, Dad, record players, huh? And then they get used to it and they go, I like this. It's cool. Yeah. I can, that's kind of, and I think that's what's neat, to keep the little bit of the old and the new. So we get a little bit of all of it, and you don't just throw it away and go, nope, we don't listen to record players anymore because that's archaic. And
Appreciation.
I mean, people, I think, and then this was me about music, is when the CDs came out, I was just like, oh, wow, this high fidelity. But on CDs, everything's pushed to this, right? So this is what CDs are. Well, analog has peaks and valleys. Well, I've just started discovering that again. And that's why I'm back into the vinyl thing, because it's more of an audio painting.
Yeah.
So you can listen to the same song on CD. And I did this when I would listen to some of the Meat Puppets records I was on, because, you listen to it. And you go, okay, man, that sounds great on CD. Wow, you can blast it, and it's in your face, and it's all there. But then you put the record of that same song on, and then I ended up going, oh, that little guitar part, I know it was there, but now it's kind of over here, it's shimmering a little bit more. It's going dee-dee-dee-dee, where it was so flat on the CD that it wasn't doing that. You notice things like analog, it just has a little more warmth, and it shimmers a little bit. It kind of sticks out, just pokes out a little bit. And that's where I went, oh, it's more like listening to an audio painting, whereas a painting of today of CDs and stuff is just flat.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a flat picture with no peaks and valleys. Whereas you look at a Van Gogh picture, you see the paint sticking up. You see that that like it's flat here, but it's sticking up.
Right.
And that's what's cool. You see where he put a little bit more paint than normal right here. And that's the peaks and valleys. And that I'm really starting to enjoy again.
Yeah.
Really enjoying that shit.
Nice.
Because, it's all about peaks and valleys and things. I don't want everything just flat now. And I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed CDs when they first came out. I really did. I was like, wow, this is great. I got a bunch of CDs. I love the sonicness of it. But now a good stereo on a record, you will hear it a little bit differently. You hear the same song, but you just hear little things like maybe the drums or the guitar sounds a little bit more brighter, or just pokes out a little bit more than the CD.
Right.
So I have noticed that, and I like that. I'm like, oh, I get why people are going back to vinyl. Because you get this warmth that digital just doesn't have.
Doesn't capture.
It all has its advantages, I mean, recording analog back in the day when you had to do tape, you had to slice tape. Well, now, so that's the thing about Pro Tools, We went from having to use our ears and listening, okay, I made a mistake, I need to fix that. You listen to it, to looking at the sound wave and going, oh, there's where the mistake is.
Cutting it out.
Okay, cut that out. Yeah, and that kind of changed music. It made everything like a loop, where everything just zip. Instead of playing it all the way through, we just zip, and then we put it in there.
Yeah, I noticed that with filming too. So working on a project where things were actually on film, they would, we can only do so many takes.
That's right.
Now it's on a card, so
That's
they just
right.
keep doing 8,000
Let's
takes.
go even further with that. When we used to take promo pictures back in the day, like I say using that camera now, that's a digital camera, but you would go and you would take some pictures, but before you did that, you got your little Polaroid and you said, let's see what this would look like.
Right.
And you, okay, take it with the camera now. That's badass. You don't have that luxury anymore. You just go, okay, look, okay, that's cool, do it. All right, that background looks neat, the colors look neat, okay, do it. Whereas you used to kind of have to set that up. You used to have to set it up, take a picture of the Polaroid, and just to test it.
Yeah.
And go, that's cool, okay,
Right.
stay in that pose. Y'all stay in that same thing, and now we'll take a real picture of it. And I miss that, That was part of the art, man. Like a record, the groove is in the plastic.
Right.
That's an art.
Right.
And so, again, I think people will get back to it eventually. Once everything gets all pristine and clear, they want to go back to a little bit of roughness, a little bit of the warmth, a little bit of some warts, I think, instead of everything so cleaned up, people will go back to having it a little bit dirty,
I love it. Shandon, it's been a pleasure.
Dude, it's been a pleasure, Vaughn.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been great to be able to talk about that because, it's the world we live in. And the other thing is we have to adapt. We have no other choice, I kind of say like the universe, let it, universe flows, a certain, call it chi, whatever, but the universe has a certain way. Well, life can be really hard if you go against it, like you swim against the current, and life is a lot harder than swimming with the current.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes life easier when you swim with the current, and so, it's about figuring that out. What's easiest to swim with, and so you just learn this shit along the way. Again, do I wish I knew this when I was 20? Yes, but here's the thing, you have to live that to become that.
Exactly.
It's the experience of all that. I mean, I do, I'm not saying I wasn't maybe wise when I was 20, but there's a lot of things I look at now, and it doesn't matter. It could be like piercings or even like tattoos and stuff. Nothing against any of that, but make sure it's something you really want. Because when you're 20 years old, okay, for instance, when we're Guns N' Roses days and all that, we're like, wow, Axl Rose looks cool with all this stuff. Maybe I should. And then you go, well, make sure it's something that you really, really want because people change as you get older. Yeah. You may not like that skull top hat thing after a while. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying to not get it. I'm not even saying I'm against that. I'm just saying know that you really want something. Before, and that's what I do so here's the other thing we'll say real quick. When I go to buy something, we're all impulse buyers. Well, now I check myself. I go, okay, I really want this magazine or whatever. Can I get it somewhere else for free? Can I maybe find it later on YouTube? Or do I? And if I find myself going, no, I want this now, I will get it. Yeah, but I ask myself those questions now. Whereas I used to go, oh, there it is. And I used to go, well, now wait, hold on, like the DVD or something.
Right.
Can I find this now? I could spend this money, and I want the extra features, but can I find this somewhere else, either cheaper or somebody might have it, or it'll be online somewhere? And if not, then I will get it. Yeah. If I'm like, oh no, this is unique, I'm not going to be able to get this somewhere else, I will buy it. So that eliminated my whole impulse buying now. I don't just, I go, okay, I want this, but can I get this somewhere else? And if I answer yes to those, then I put it back. That's it.
It's the way to live.
That's right.
It's the way to live, guys. Do it.
For sure. And, you just got to... The other thing I'd say is roll with the punches, life's going to hand you things that's going to... it ebbs and flows. It can be hard for a while, but nothing ever stays the same forever. So I tell that about depressed people because I've never been depressed, so when I'm trying to be on their level, I'm just trying to go, you know what, it may be bad, it may feel bad, and it may be bad for a while. I can't tell you when, but it's going to change. Now, and that's what you have to work through. You have to be strong enough to know that when it does, you can go, oh, it changed.
Right.
But, and it's hard to notice that when you're in the midst of it, whether it's depression or whatever. But it will change. Just hold on tight. Right. And it'll change eventually. And that's the thing of life, is to just kind of hang on for the ride,
I know,
because it'll take it.
That's all it is,
like
too.
Bill Hicks, Bill Hicks, the comedian, he says life is like a roller coaster. It has thrills and chills, and it goes this way, and it goes, and then it goes sideways. It goes for a loop. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
So we'll end it on that.
Exactly.
These ones or these ones?
Saw an episode of Intervention. And I know I'm fine.
Illinois, Mr. Robert Bobby McNeely. He is going to join us tonight.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Elaine Zhang, and today I am here with Eli Seal, documentary filmmaker.
I need more. Welcome to The Only Way is Linda. Today I have a really special guest here.